Hey everybody, this is Doug with Artfully Rogue, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to build a shipping crate to ship large items. Now in my shop I tend to do a lot of large metal doors, and they weigh anywhere between 75 to 85 pounds, can be up to 4 feet by 8 feet in dimension. So I build my own shipping crates and then have the freight company pick them up. You have to make sure that these crates are built nice and sturdy because no one's going to take care of your package the way you do, and once it gets out on the road you want to make sure that it's nice and safe. So let's go ahead and get started building this crate. So I measure the panels that I'm using to the exact size that I need for the item that I'm shipping. Here I'm using 1/4 inch underlayment, which is also, I guess, referred to as luan, and I try to trim off as much as I can because shipping is determined based on size and weight. So if I can trim a few inches off on this, it helps. On the sides I actually use a 1x4 pine, and I'll measure the long sides first, because I want the ends to be secured within the two long sides of the board. I notice here that one of the boards has a bad end, so I want to put that on the cut side so I'm not attaching anything to the bad side of the board. And then making sure that I measure twice, 3 times. Lining up the boards, I mean, they don't have to be, dead on, but you want to try to make them as accurate as possible. And there's a couple of ways you can do this. This is just kind of what I'm used to, and I'll put the sides in first, kind of line those up, on the edges and at each end. And then I use a 1-inch wafer screw. Wafer screws have larger heads so they don't bury themselves into the wood, and they really kind of just basically put a cap on top of the wood to keep it from pulling through. I found that these screws actually work the best, and over time, and I used to use drywall screws, but drywall screws tend to bury into the wood. And so I found the wafer screws just kind of work better. So then cutting my ends, just want to make sure that it's a nice snug fit. I actually had a shipment that went to California that this end came out. The only thing we can figure is the driver must have just tossed it off the truck, and the door came flying out that end. But there's just no explanation. Typically I glue the corners before I put that board in. I just kind of forgot on this particular crate, but you'll see here in just a little bit that I'll add glue in once I flip the box over. On the ends I put the screws about every 4 inches, and a lot of it happens because of that blowout that I had on the shipment to California. I just want to make sure that this end is not going anywhere. So on the ends I put in screws every 4 inches. On the long sides they go about every 6 inches. And then once I flip it over, then I focus on the corners, and you'll see that I will put some glue here in the corners. I kind of realized that I had forgotten that. And I'll put some longer 2-inch screws in the corners just to make sure that I've got a lot of security here. Each corner gets glued and 3 screws. Sometimes I'll use my pneumatic nailer and I'll temporarily nail those in place just to kind of hold them while I screw everything in place. Again, this is made specifically for a door that I'm shipping out, but every crate that I make is very, very similar to this. And then packing. For the doors, I'll lay down a bed of cardboard so that it's not laying specifically on the wood. Gives it, just a touch of cushion. But I pretty much secure everything inside the crate nice and tight. As you can see, that door fits, pretty quick in there. And this insulation foam, I use this inside the door, and whatever's left over I'll throw in the crate just to kind of keep it from moving around. So, there's maybe about an inch between the length of the door and on the top and the bottom. So I'll fill in those spots to keep it from sliding anywhere. Now, like I said, it's like once it leaves your shop, you really have no control over who's handling it, and it'll go from one terminal to another. And they don't know what's inside, or they really don't care because they've got so many shipments that are going through their terminal. So just make sure that you do a lot of packing, and just make sure that your product inside can't shift around a lot. And then I close it up with another piece of the 1/4 inch underlayment. Now you can also use plywood. Plywood comes in 1/2 inch. I think I've even seen 1/4 inch before. And if you're going to have something that's going to move around, or it's like a little bit bigger, or maybe need to make like a big square box. But this has worked for me. This is the way I ship it out. I've also found that I spray paint on a lot of my directions. Make sure that they see that this side up. And then I also put on my address. I had a new plasma cutter, so I thought it would be kind of fun to plasma cut a address label like this. So that's kind of the main reason why I did that. And I had some problems. They would see this side up and they would think, oh, we can lay it down flat. So I had to start putting in arrows. Okay, for the most part, that's a shipping crate. Now obviously they comes in different sizes and shapes, and depending on what you're going to be shipping, you may need to go heavier duty, or you could probably lighten up a little bit. One of the things to remember is nice strong corners, and put enough screws in the box that it's not going to easily be opened up or easily break. Make sure that you label your box, whether you spray paint labels on or you draw them with a Sharpie, but make sure you write on that box. Printing labels and taping them on there are also a good idea, but I wouldn't count on them staying for the duration of the trip. Make sure that you write on the box where your crate's going to and where it came from. Another important factor to remember when you're shipping a crate is to take a picture before that crate leaves your business or shop or wherever you're shipping it from. And then when your client or customer receives that crate, make sure they understand they need to inspect it. Make sure that there's no damage to the crate. The screws haven't been taken out, there's no holes in the crate. You want to make sure that they're getting a solid product, because if they sign the paperwork that says that they received your item, all right, and they didn't check it for mistakes or check it for damage, and they sign off on it, you're going to have a very difficult time collecting any insurance. So make sure that your clients communicate with you as soon as they get that crate, and make sure that it's arrived safely. So let's say hypothetically that your crate makes it to its destination and there is damage. Okay, it's important that you file a claim immediately. Many of your large freight companies, they have very short windows of opportunity for you to file a claim. So they don't want to make it easy for you to file a claim. So you make sure that you have all your ducks in a row from the time that crate leaves your shop. All right, take a picture of it. Make sure that your clients are going to take a picture of it. Make sure they communicate to you. I'd even have the paperwork ready in order to file a claim. That way there's no time lost whatsoever. Also, another option is to get insurance. So that would usually be on top of the insurance that most freight companies offer as kind of a standard. you'll have to file a separate claim for the insurance company, but usually they require a claim paperwork from the shipping company, whether it was paid out or denied. So you're going to have to file a claim with the shipping company before you can probably file a claim with the insurance company. So that's shipping. It's kind of a pain, but it's a necessary evil when you're in business of shipping things out to people. So I hope that was helpful. If it was, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more of what I have coming up, do me a favor and subscribe. If you're already a subscriber and you want to support me in other ways, check out my Patreon account. And if you have some extra time on your hands, then check out some of my other videos. We'll see you next time.